may not be as old, but the SG is equally iconic as the Les Paul, Strat, and Telecaster. Introduced in 1961 as the SG Les Paul, it was meant to be the answer to the dwindling popularity of Les himself and the original Gibson Les Paul guitar. The thinner, lighter body reduced production costs, while the shape and heel of the neck would be advertised as a faster neck. But Les Paul didn't like the SG and didn't want his name associated with it, so they dropped the Les Paul model name and stuck with SG, which stands for solid body guitar, and it wasn't very popular in the beginning. Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton both played SGs in the late 60s, but it wasn't until the 70s that the SG's popularity got a good boost from notable SG players like Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi, Angus Young from AC/DC, and the eccentric Frank Zappa. Fast forward 63 years later, and the SG is still going strong in both classic and modern iterations. Now, before we go any further, this guitar was sent to me from Zounds.com for the purpose of this review. However, I am not being compensated in any way from Zounds or Gibson for this review, and all opinions expressed in this video are my own. So enough history, let's talk about this one. This is the Gibson SG Standard 61 with the Maestro Vibrola and a faded vintage cherry finish. Priced at $2,200, it is one of the more expensive 61 reissues on the market, and if you want it in a gloss finish, it's $2,500. But what all do you get with this SG? You get a really nice Gibson case with the case candy. Inside the case candy bag, you get a nice leather Gibson strap, one of these multi-tools, so you can do a proper setup with everything you need on there, even the truss rod wrench, product registration and warranty card. That was the key to the case. You get a picture of your guitar rolling off the assembly line, your owner's manual, and a nice microfiber type, some kind of cloth for wiping down your guitar. The body is a single piece of mahogany with a satin nitrocellulose lacquer finish. The bridge is an ABR1 Tune-o-matic with the Maestro Vibrola. The pickups are Gibson 60s burst buckers that both measure at about 7.8K ohms of resistance and all hand-wired electronics. The set neck is a mahogany slim taper with Gibson's vintage deluxe tuners and keystone buttons. 12-inch radius rosewood fretboard is a 24 3/4 inch typical SG scale bound in single ply cream. You have 22 medium jumbo frets, acrylic trapezoid inlays, and a Graphtec nut. I'm a fairly new SG player. I had some of the cheaper Epiphone SGs in the past, like the Specials, and they really don't do the SG any justice, so I had no interest in playing one for a long time. And then I got an itch to learn more of the older AC/DC tunes. Now, you don't need an SG for that, but it feels a lot better playing AC/DC on one. So I bought a few Epiphone SGs, and I love them, but I wanted to try an actual Gibson SG. As soon as I opened the case, I knew there was something about it, and it's just different. It might be the placebo effect, I don't know. The naysayers will say that the only difference between an Epiphone and a Gibson is the name of the headstock. Well, the cork sniffers will say anything other than a Gibson is crap, and I'm somewhere in the middle, knowing both sentiments are false. The love for the Epiphones is still there, but none of them have the mojo of this Gibson. And I say, play what you like and what you can afford, and keep an open mind. So what turned me on to this particular SG? Well, it was a combination of things. The uncovered 60s burst bucker pickups caught my eye because you see a lot of SGs with chrome covered pickups, and I just liked the way it looked with the uncovered puffs. Also, having a bit of experience with Gibson burstbuckers, I knew they would sound great, and they do. The Vibrola caught my eye, and although I love the way the Vibrola looks, now that I have experienced it, I could give or take it. You know, you have to be very conservative while using the Vibrola, because even with a proper setup, overuse of it will result in constant retuning. A roller bridge might help, but I'm not so sure. I may try that in the future. Now, the satin nitro finish is what I really liked about this SG, and it gives it a slight vintage look, but you have to take a little extra caution with the satin nitro finish because it can scratch rather easily, and the finish isn't very thick or hard.
That's what she said!
Despite what I said about the Vibrola, everything about this guitar makes me want to play it. The feel of the slim taper neck and rosewood fretboards, and the sound of the 60s burstbuckers, which aren't all that hot, but make no mistake, you can crank the gain on them and they sound mean as a rattlesnake and will bite just as hard. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a proper SG review if I didn't talk about the neck dive often associated with an SG. But it's really a non-issue. With the better built ones, and even if there is a slight neck dive, a decent leather strap like the one that comes with it will alleviate the problem. You know, sometimes when you pine after a particular guitar and you finally buy it, you can usually expect the honeymoon to be over in a couple weeks. Just like any other new purchase, I'll choose a guitar to review from Zounds and I'll pick it up and play it every day for a week or so, and it'll feel like the greatest guitar I have ever played. Then within 2 weeks, the honeymoon is over and I'll shoot the review and put it back in the box to go back to Zounds. This one is different. As I mentioned earlier, this SG just has mojo.
Mojo, baby, yeah!
And that's something that a lot of guitars don't have. And when you find one with mojo that you're looking for, you just know it. I've played it probably every day for the last 6 weeks since I got it, and I don't want to send it back. It is way out of my budget and highly impractical for me and what I do, but I'm going to find a way to pay for it because I like it that much. I never thought I'd buy a Gibson, especially one at this price, but I gotta have it. If you've never played an SG or have only played some of the super lightweight, cheap Epiphone specials, I highly suggest trying out some of the better Epiphone SGs to see how you like it before committing. They're great and comfortable guitars to play, especially if you're looking for something lightweight with a slim neck. And it doesn't have to be a Gibson. It doesn't even have to be an Epiphone. You can find affordable brands such as Firefly and Harley Benton that sell fantastic SG style guitars that make great platforms for modding and upgrades. Again, always keep an open mind. You can check out this SG and everything Zounds has to offer at zounds.com by using the affiliate link in the description. They have easy no credit check payment options and fast free shipping from 4 warehouses across the United States. That sounded weird, but I'm going to go with it because I'm tired of this is like the third take. So I'm just going to roll with it. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button for me if you want to see more reviews, and we'll see you next time.